This year, more than any, I've gained a new understanding in why I love video games. Video games have been a big part of my life as a whole, but 2020 in particular has shined a light on what draws me to them in the first place. I've gone over in the past how gaming was a way for me to connect with others when I was younger, but this year took that idea and fed it crystal meth. Not being able to go see my friends every weekend has made it necessary for us to find some form of social interaction that wasn't putting ourselves or others in harm. So video games became essential in keeping our sanity. Not only that, but having so much free time on my hands has caused me to change my perspective on how I see the act of playing games in general. It's become much more than just something to relieve stress and pass time. In fact, it became an important activity in my life that gave me a deeper understanding of who I am as a person. I know that this all makes me sound insane, but I'm being genuine. I'm sure that if it wasn't video games that gave me this connection to my inner self, I probably could have found it in something else, but there is a factor somewhere in my gaming experience that gave me an overview of who I am as a human being and what I want to become. Now, I played a lot of games this year. A lot of games that I just didn't get around to reviewing on my channel, but I still wanted to talk about them in some form. So today, I've compiled a brief overview of the games I played this year, and I think you should check out too. I won't be diving too deep into the games themselves, because I might make larger reviews for them in the future, but here they are regardless. Also, these aren't all games that were released in 2020, some I just wanted to play for a while and never got around to. So with all that being said, here's my speedrun of reviews and recommendations for every game I played in 2020. Animal Crossing New Horizons. The game was released right around the time the pandemic first started, and like many others, I lost my job due to a global lockdown. Animal Crossing truly couldn't have come at a better time. With a total lack of motivation in my life at this point, New Horizons gave me a good place to find some sort of controlled variable in my new routine. Although I was unable to go to work every morning as I usually would, I still knew that I had flowers to water, friends to visit daily, and in-game chores that gave me some sense of mental stability. Some days I would get on for less than 20 minutes, and some days I would be working on my island for hours. I think that there needs to be some sort of conspiracy theory here because this game seems like it was made to be played in a pandemic. Finally, I got around to playing the absolute masterpiece of an RPG, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The world of The Witcher was a perfect escape from reality that I needed at a time like this, and I am so glad that I finally caved on playing this game that I got recommended to me constantly. The story pulled me in instantly, the characters were well developed, and the open world had something new and exciting at every corner. Speaking of incredible open worlds, Ghost of Tsushima absolutely blew my mind. It's one of the biggest reasons why I invested in a PS4, and I don't regret it for a second. The island of Tsushima feels like a living painting in every frame. Each location perfectly encapsulates a vivid emotion that is next to no other open world. The most impressive feature of the game is its pacing because oh boy is it hard to put down. The excitement never drags and nothing about it feels rushed either. Also, it's important to note that the combat is just as smooth and stylish. Definitely some of my favorite swordplay in any game I've ever played. Story's a banger, characters are memorable. Definitely play this one if you want to feel like you're in a classic samurai movie. Doom Eternal is a fever dream worth having. If you ever want to get your heart rate up but are too lazy to exercise, play Doom. The music feels like getting punched in the face 100 times, but in a good way. There are so many different kinds of enemies and guns, and the game just straight up makes you feel like a god. My favorite part about this game is that after spending like a half an hour almost having a heart attack while trying to take on a boss, the game says screw you and makes you fight 3 more of the same boss at the same time. Highly recommend this game to anybody who punches holes in their walls. Speaking of holes in your walls, hey, I finally got around to playing Sekiro. I watched a friend play this game and die 100 times, and for some reason that made me say, oh, I want to play this game. And so that's what I did, and I have the scars to prove it. Sekiro is all about trial and error, so once you play for long enough, you start to accept the fact that you're probably going to die every time you enter a new section of the map, but for some crazy reason this works really well. You should check this game out if you hate yourself and accept that as a fact. What's the best way to make new friends in a time where making new friends is practically illegal? Simulate them, of course. I've been meaning to play Persona 4 for a long time. Persona 5 is easily one of my all-time favorite games as well, so it only made sense to play its predecessor as well. This game really surprised me. I was expecting to be thrown off by its aged graphics and gameplay, but I fell in love with its characters and story. The writers of this game took some creative risks that you don't see very often in games today, and for that reason, progression felt not only very personal, but necessary. Weirdly enough, Persona 4 reminded me a lot of Majora's Mask in the sense that you needed to manage your time and make decisions with a lot of care and thought. I recommend this game to anybody who has a lot of time on their hands and also needs a good cry. The developers of Hollow Knight are heroes in my eyes. They aren't some huge AAA game company. Team Cherry is made up of 3 dudes with a vision and a lot of talent. Everything in Hollow Knight is hand-drawn, and the art and music is able to create a vibe and tone that you rarely find in video game titles. There is a reason why this game is so popular, but even with its large dedicated following, I still consider it underrated because it's just that good. I think that anybody can find enjoyment in this game because it deserves all the recognition it can get. Okay, if this is truly going to be considered a speedrun, I need to pick up the pace a little bit. Uncharted 4 is like the love child of Indiana Jones and James Bond. This game plays like a major studio film and it's exciting from start to finish. Play this if you love your dysfunctional brother. Final Fantasy VII looks super gross if you aren't playing it, but you should give it the benefit of the doubt because the turn-based combat is unique and it really is a big inspiration for like every game that came out after it. Play it if you want, or just play the remake, which is pretty cool too. Yakuza 0 is like playing every single game in an arcade at the same time. Play this if you like dancing and killing. No Man's Sky was a bad game and now it's a good game. Play this if you gave up on your dreams of going to space. Fall Guys is a game about guys who fall a lot. Play this if you fall a lot. Okay, so truth be told, I hardly even made a dent on the amount of games I played in 2020, but I at least wanted to recommend to you guys some of the ones that I enjoyed the most. Going into 2021, my goal is to not let something like this happen again. I vow to review every game I play as I play them, because making videos is my favorite thing to do. As much as video games have helped me get through 2020, making these reviews and video essays has been the best part of having all this free time. I'm going to continue making bigger and better videos this year, and I hope you guys will join me on the adventure. Together, let's make 2021 something special. And with that, I will catch up with you guys next week. Peace.